So what does it mean to have a Catholic worldview? What we're talking about here is a Catholic vision of the world, the way a Catholic sees the world. In order to answer this question, we first need to look at what a worldview is in general. A worldview is just a way of looking at the whole of reality. It looks at the basic order, direction, and meaning of the world, and it looks at how the whole and the individual things are related to each other. For example, let's use the human body. A worldview looks at something like an organ and says that is a whole in and of itself, but it's ultimately oriented to something bigger, which is the human body. And that's kind of what we're getting at when we talk about a worldview. So I want to make a couple of important points here. Number one, a true worldview is only possible from a religious perspective. Why is that? Because it takes a perspective outside of the world in order to be able to see the world as a whole. God must exist to have a true worldview because we need a perspective that is outside of the world, that's not in this particular place or that particular place, but that can look at the whole of reality all at once. So a true worldview is only possible from a religious perspective. Second point, only within Christianity is an authentic worldview possible. So we don't just need God, but God must be close to the world. A God that is completely alien to the world cannot understand the world. God must have a positive relationship to the world. God is the very source of being who upholds reality into existence. And in Christianity, revelation enters the world in Jesus Christ. So in Jesus, God, who is free from the world, enters the world and speaks about the world. God reveals to us what the true worldview is. So the vision of Jesus Christ is the true worldview. Without Jesus, there is no true worldview possible. It is God that has to reveal to us how to understand the world. And then going a step further, a Catholic worldview is the only true and universally valid worldview. That's because Jesus didn't just rise from the dead, ascend into heaven, and leave us orphans. No, he created a church for us in which he dwells, that church that we call the body of Christ. The church contains the fullness of truth and proclaims and guards and promotes this truth throughout every generation. So a Catholic worldview is not just one worldview among many or one way of seeing Christianity among many. No, it is the only true and universally valid worldview because God came to us, revealed to us how to see the world, and continues to guard and protect and reveal that to us through every generation through his church. So what does this mean for us as individuals? Okay, there's one last point I want to make, and that is a worldview must be grounded in a specific type of person or personality. So no human being has full grasp on a worldview in and of themselves. From a Catholic perspective, let's look at St. Thomas Aquinas and St. John Henry Newman. In many ways, they see the world differently. St. Ignatius of Loyola, St. Augustine, St. Therese. Again, there are certain ways in which it appears that the world appears to them differently. It seems clear that there are differences in the way they see the world. But no one would claim that any one of them is less Catholic than the others. And in fact, it would be a disservice to the church and to the world to try to conform them to one another. There's a richness to a Catholic worldview that each of these people bring to the fore. And the more that someone is conformed to Jesus Christ, the more they take on his worldview and incarnate a truly authentic Catholic worldview in their own unique way. They're individuals, but they're still Catholic. So to have a Catholic worldview, you have to live from the heart of the church. We'll each express it in our own unique way, but we have to be formed and molded by the church. And it's not that the individual lives from the church, and it's not that the individual loses his or her personality. Rather, it's that the church finds expression in his or her personality. And we see examples of this in the secular world too. I'm thinking of specifically sports marketing. Historically, Nike and Adidas and all of these companies had a line of memorabilia, shoes, and they would bring on professional athletes and have them represent that memorabilia. Well, it changed with Nike and Michael Jordan. What Nike did with Michael Jordan was they didn't bring on Michael Jordan and have him wear and represent their brand. They changed their brand to fit his personality. And then that blew up and Nike became what we know as Nike today. So Obviously, there can be problems on both ends of the spectrum here. People can make their lives, ministries, whatever, too much about themselves and their personality, and that can be a problem. On the other end, people can have some sort of false humility, thinking that anything, any sort of expression about themselves, anything that draws people to themselves is bad because it draws people away from God. That is not the case at all. God gave each and every one of us a special gift and a unique personality so that his love and goodness can come alive and be made known to the world in only a way that you can. So I hope this helps start to understand what not only a true worldview is, but why a Catholic worldview is the only true worldview. As always, please subscribe to our channel. You can stay up to date on all the videos as we come out with them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also, please comment below. I would love to know what you think. Check out our website at culturallycatholic.org, and I would love for you to consider donating to our ministry. God bless.